The 2006 IPCC guidelines for national greenhouse gas inventories were produced at the invitation of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to update the revised 1996 guidelines and associated good practice guidance, which provide internationally agreed methodologies intended for use by countries to estimate greenhouse gas inventories to report to the UNFCCC. Inventories rely on a few key concepts for which there is a common understanding. This helps to ensure that inventories are comparable between countries, do not contain double counting or emissions, and that the time series reflect actual changes in emissions. Anthropogenic emissions and removals means that greenhouse gas emissions and removals included in national inventories are a result of human activities. The distinction between natural and anthropogenic emissions and removals follows straightforwardly from the data used to quantify human activity. National inventories include greenhouse gas emissions and removals taking place within national territory and offshore areas over which the country has jurisdiction. There are some special issues. For example, emissions from fuel use in road transport is included in emissions of the country where the fuel is sold. National inventories contain estimates for the calendar year during which the emissions to or removals from the atmosphere occur. Where suitable, data to follow this principle are missing. Emissions removals may be estimated using data from years applying appropriate methods. A sequence of annual greenhouse gas estimates, for example 1990 to 2000, is called a time series. Because of the importance of tracking emissions trends over time, countries should ensure that a time series of estimates is as consistent as possible. Inventory reporting. A greenhouse gas inventory report includes a set of standard reporting tables covering all relevant gases, categories, and years, and a written report that documents the methodologies and data used to prepare the estimates. The following greenhouse gases are covered in the 2006 guidelines. Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and others are shown below. The 2006 guidelines also provide information for the reporting of the precursors: nitrogen oxide, ammonia, non-methane volatile organic compounds, carbon monoxide, and sulfur dioxide. Greenhouse gas emissions and removal estimates are divided into main sectors, which are groupings of related processes, sources, and sinks. These are energy, IPPU, AFLU, waste, and other. Each sector comprises individual categories and subcategories. Ultimately, countries will construct an inventory from the subcategory level because this is how IPCC methodologies are set out on total emissions calculated by summation. A national total is calculated by summing up emissions and removals for each gas. Reporting is generally organized according to the sector actually generating emissions or removals. There are some exceptions to this practice, such as CO2 emissions from biogas combustion for energy, which are reported in AFLU sector as part of net changes in carbon stocks. The methodological approach used is to combine information on the extent to which human activity takes place, called AD, with coefficients which quantify the emissions or removals per unit activity. These are called emission factors. The basic equation is therefore emissions equal to AD by EF. The 2006 guidelines also allow for more complex modeling approaches, particularly at higher tier. Though this simple equation is widely used, the 2006 guideline also contains mass balance methods. For example, stock change methods used in the AFLU sectors which estimate CO2 emissions. Carbon dioxide from the combustion or decay of short-lived biogenetic material removed from where it was grown is reported as zero in the energy, IPPU, and waste sectors. Volumes. The 2006 IPCC guidelines contain 5 volumes, one for each sector and one general guidance applicable to all sectors. Volume 1, General Guidance and Reporting. Volume 2, Energy. Volume 3, IPPU. Volume 4, APPLU. And Volume 5, Waste. Annexes. Annexes are intended to include additional, often detailed information beyond what is necessary for a Tier 1 estimate. For example, extended data tables. Appendices. The 2006 IPCC guidelines present some technical material in appendices, where emissions or removals are poorly understood and where there is insufficient information available. Worksheets. Worksheets are tools designed to provide easy calculation of Tier 1 methodologies. Worksheets are not provided for higher tiers, although they can be used where the higher tier method is similar to Tier 1. Reporting tables. The reporting tables are intended to give sufficient detail required for transparent reporting of national greenhouse gas inventories and following a disaggregated category list. They include summary tables, sectorial tables, background tables, and trend tables. The background tables include summary activity data for increased transparency and to facilitate comparison of data across countries. Reporting tables also include results of a key category analysis and uncertainty assessment.